What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you our starts and sits for Week 6 in fantasy football. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, before we get into today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video as it will help us out tremendously. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. All right, Nick, week 6 is upon us, and we have a lot to get to. Our starts and sits for the week. Nick, why don't you get us started at the quarterback position? Who are you starting? Who are you sitting?
Yeah, for my start quarterback this week, I'm going with Kirk Cousins once again. This time he's taking on the Miami Dolphins. And as we saw last week, Skylar Thompson was the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, and this team overall was not able to do anything against the New York Jets. With Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson taking on this Miami defense, this should be an absolute blowout once again, and I think Kirk Cousins really stepped up in that London game last week, played very well. I think he's going to do even better this time around. This is going to be a really good game for the Minnesota Vikings, and I really love their passing attack against that Miami secondary. But for my sit quarterback, I'm going with Matthew Stafford against the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Carolina Panthers just had some big news this week with Matt Rule being fired as the head coach, and we've seen in the past when teams lose their head coach and we have an interim head coach, the team all of a sudden takes a step upward and they play better than expected. The Carolina defense has been strong all year. They've been keeping this team afloat, and they're going to be even better in this matchup. Stafford has not played well. He's hyper targeting Cooper Kupp, and that has not worked out for them in the long run. I don't expect Matthew Stafford to have a good day against Carolina.
My start quarterback, I'm going with Daniel Jones. DJ going against the Baltimore Ravens. Daniel Jones is one of those guys that has really stepped up this season. He's a top 15 fantasy quarterback. On top of that, you have the rushing upside with this guy. He has been able to utilize his legs and really run the Brian Daboll offense to a T. On top of all of this, he has not turned the ball over, which was his Achilles heel. And now the Baltimore Ravens are giving up an average of 22 points per game against opposing quarterbacks. I think Daniel Jones is going to take full advantage of that. Start DJ this week. For my sit quarterback, I'm going with Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson. This is a guy that just cannot be trusted right now. This Nathaniel Hackett offense has not been hacking it, and right now, Russell Wilson has not been able to get things going. We saw Courtland Sutton really be the only viable option for him. Jerry Jeudy has been inconsistent at best, and with the run game only going through Melvin Gordon since Javonte Williams is out for the year, it is not going to be a pretty sight for this offense, and I think Russell Wilson is going to bear the brunt of that. I'm sitting Russell Wilson this week.
Moving over to running backs, my start running back for the week is Kenneth Walker against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Kenneth Walker, rookie running back out of the second round, is a big play guy, and we saw that when he took over after Rashad Penny got hurt last week against the Saints. He had 8 for 88, and that is just the tip of the iceberg for him, because when he has full control of this offense and is the lead running back for the Seattle Seahawks, we don't know how high the ceiling is, but he has such a high floor that he's a great play. The Arizona Cardinals are not very good at stopping the run, and Kenneth Walker is working in the running game and the receiving game. He will be on the field a ton, and I really like what his upside has for him this week. But for my sit running back, it's a big one. Clyde Edwards-Helaire going up against the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Buffalo Bills are a very tough defense, and that's a key reason to not play him. But when you look at the other running backs that the Kansas City Chiefs have in J.D. McKissick and Isaiah Pacheco, there is not a lot of opportunities for CEH at the moment. When you look at the receiving game, he is not the primary target. It is J.D. McKissick, and Pacheco is a much better running back on the ground. I just don't think that CEH is really fitting in to the game plan, and when they take him out, it seems like the Chiefs have more success. I don't think that this is the week that you should put out CEH in your starting lineup.
For my starting running back, I'm going with Ramondre Stevenson, the big ramming guy that the Patriots are going to be toting out there. And that's because Damian Harris is now hurt, and it is Ramondre Stevenson's season in New England taking on the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are 32nd DVOA, and that means they are one of the worst, if not the worst teams against the run this season. And that has boded well for the Patriots, as the last 3 weeks they have faced the 32nd ranked rushing defense. And last week it led to Ramondre Stevenson getting over 160 yards on the ground. This guy also has receiving upside with either Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones. So I would start Ramondre Stevenson in week 6. For my sit running back, I'm going with Najee Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a big name to be sitting, a guy that was drafted in the first round of many leagues. This is a guy that just cannot be trusted. And on top of that, when you have a rookie quarterback who takes over midway through the season, you see 25% drop off in fantasy points for the running back of that team. It is a massive loss. And Najee Harris was already struggling with Mitch Trubisky. We saw that these quarterbacks are a little bit more mobile than what we've seen with Ben Roethlisberger's in the last few years, and that's because they can take off with their legs, and Najee Harris is just not getting the quick dump off looks that he got with Ben Roethlisberger. I think this is going to be a big game for Najee Harris to sit. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to really struggle on offense, and I think they're going to be airing it out through the entire game.
Now moving over to wide receivers, my start wide receiver for the week is going to be Michael Gallup against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this is expected to be a lopsided game in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles, which to me says the Dallas Cowboys will be throwing a ton in this matchup. CeeDee Lamb will be covered by Darius Slay and James Bradbury on and off, and I think Michael Gallup is going to have a lot of one-on-one matchups that are going to be favorable for him. We're going to see Cooper Rush get another opportunity in this game, and I think that the connection is there, especially in the red zone. Michael Gallup really hasn't had a big presence since he's come back, but I think this could be the game for him to get a lot more opportunities, and the upside is definitely there. But for my sit wide receiver, I'm going with Drake London against the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners defense is very scary, the secondary playing better than the names show, but Drake London has been really good. I just don't think that this is going to be a big matchup for him. Kyle Shanahan knows what this team is about. He was the offensive coordinator for them for many, many years, and he is looking to make a mark here. We've seen the Niners defense put big receivers out of the picture, and this is going to be another one of those games where we see Drake London just not showing up because of how good the Niners defense plays.
For my starting wide receiver, I'm going with George Pickens. Now, I know I sat Najee Harris, but the fact of the matter is that Kenny Pickett's going to have to throw to somebody, and it's going to be George Pickens' season. He was Pittsburgh's leading receiver in week 5 with 6 receptions for 83 yards. He has the rapport with Kenny Pickett. They are both rookies who came in rookie minicamp and really going after it. These are the guys that he seems to trust more than Deontay Johnson and even Chase Claypool. I believe that we're going to see a lot of George Pickens in this game, and it is going to be Pickens' season once again. But for my sit wide receiver, I'm going with Juju Smith-Schuster. The guy has just been very inconsistent. The fact of the matter is that he has not reached 14 points all season long. He's been held to single digits 3 out of the last 4 weeks and really has not shown that he has the rapport with Patrick Mahomes that was reported early on in the season. I believe that there are much better receiving options on the Kansas City Chiefs this week going against the Buffalo Bills defense. This is not a time for Kansas City to be messing with what works. They are going to go to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Mecole Hardman. They're going to go after the guys that they know and trust, and they're not going to try to figure out the chemistry between Patrick Mahomes and Juju this week. I'm going to sit Juju Smith-Schuster.
And now rounding it out with our tight ends, my start tight end for the week is going to be Hunter Henry against the Cleveland Browns. Now, Hunter Henry finally got into the picture for the New England Patriots against the Detroit Lions, and I think this is part of the offense that the Patriots are rolling out this year. Little by little, they're opening up this playbook, and now we're going to see the tight ends get involved. Jonnu Smith is still out of the picture. Hunter Henry is going to be the primary target for whichever quarterback is under center, and I really like what his matchup looks like against the Cleveland Browns. This defense is a little banged up right now, and I think the passing game for the Patriots will be expanded. Hunter Henry should see more targets like he did last week. But for my sit tight end, I'm going with Dalton Schultz up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I like Michael Gallup, but we saw Dalton Schultz put up a goose egg last week, and I don't see how Philadelphia is going to let him do anything of any value fantasy-wise again, because Dalton Schultz is just not that big play guy. He is not going to get you a monster game out of nowhere. He is a very consistent guy, and that's consistently low. He's not going to get the looks like he did early on. He is starting to get passed by guys like Noah Brown or Tony Pollard. really, when you look at Dalton Schultz, he is just the last ditch option on this offense, and I just don't like what he has to offer in this Philadelphia matchup.
For my start tight end, I'm going with somebody who's not technically a tight end, and that's being Taysom Hill. If you were lucky enough to grab him off of waivers this week, then congratulations. But I am starting Taysom Hill. The fact of the matter is he is a Swiss Army knife. He can run, he can pass, he can catch the ball. And we saw him do all three of those things last week. I think he's getting more comfortable in this Dennis Allen offense. I believe that with this team, he's going to get more reps. Even if Jameis Winston is the guy under center, they're going to utilize Taysom Hill and his ability to do all of those things on the offense. I expect him to be a high scoring player for your team. For my sit tight end, though, I'm going with David Njoku. Nick, you talked about Hunter Henry and what the Patriots have. Well, it's what the Patriots do against opposing tight ends. They may only be middle of the pack, quote unquote, against tight ends, but if you look and take the Baltimore Ravens game with Mark Andrews out of the equation, they are one of the best teams in covering opposing tight ends. David Njoku might be second on his team in receptions, but that only puts a target on his back for Bill Belichick in this defensive scheme to really go after him and Amari Cooper and say, you know what? Jacoby Brissett's not going to beat us with these guys. We're going to stop the run. We're going to stop Njoku. We're going to stop Amari Cooper. Let's let Donovan Peoples-Jones and some of these other guys beat the Patriots. That's what Bill Belichick does best. David Njoku is not going to have a big day. He might have a lot of looks, but they're going to be a lot of throwaways. I'm sitting David Njoku this week. All right, well, I want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments down below if you have any questions setting your fantasy lineup. We'll be happy to help you set your lineups. Let us know in the comments down below if you have any questions. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace out.